Hello, I'm Jarg, and welcome back to my beginner's basic guide to Terraria. Last time, we dealt with a couple of bosses, and in this one, I'm going to be moving on to, well, fighting all three mechanical bosses. Now, just a quick heads up, this is all post-commentary, so I already did these fights and whatnot, and, well, now I'm just recording the audio afterwards. Mostly because I wanted to make sure, A, I could do this, and B, make sure I had all the footage. So, we're going to start off with what is probably going to be the easiest of the three bosses to take care of, the twins. Now, how this works is that there are two eyeballs, very similar to the Eye of Cthulhu. As you actually see, they are connected. Now, what you want to do for this fight is, I highly recommend either this ice bow that I got, or one of the repeaters, because you want to be constantly firing something at them, be it arrows or bullets, and honestly, right now, bows are probably going to be our best bet more than anything. The other thing you want to do is focus on one of the eyes at a time. So if you're going after the green eye, focus on the green eye. If you're going to go after the red eye, focus on the red eye. If you damage the other one, don't worry about it, but focus on the one and destroy the one completely before worrying about the next. Because as you get one of the eyeballs down to past half health, it, just like the Eye of Cthulhu, will go into a secondary form. Or a raid form, depending on how you want to go, and they are more deadly. Now, what I recommend for this fight is not an arena, but as you see me going back and forth, left and right, using a combination of my speed and my wings to essentially get around the planet. And more or less, this just kind of becomes, I guess, more like a war of attrition than anything else. Like, there are going to be a few moments that I'm like, oh god, this could be bad, but more often than not, it's just, okay, I just have to keep on moving and try to dodge the attacks. Matter of fact, if we look at their combined health, they're already, like, down to 1/3 of their health. Also, just a heads up, if you're going to be doing what I'm doing right now, if you happen to have the wizard, I highly recommend buying the crystal ball from the wizard, going to the merchant, buying or having the equivalent of 4,000 arrows, yes, 4000, takes those arrows over to the crystal ball that you can buy from the wizard, and turn all those arrows you got into a quiver. The quiver essentially gives you an limitless supply of wooden arrows. Combining with this ice bow, oh, like the best thing we were gonna have. I'm not gonna lie, I've been using this ice bow for a while, like against Queen Slime, and using it against some of the bosses here in Horde mode. Well, I say bosses. I've used it against 2 of the 3 mechanical bosses, and I highly recommend it. Okay, there we go. The twins has been defeated, and we actually got a couple of things from their defeat. Although I did miss one thing at the time. So, I sure you noticed, one thing I got was Hallowed Paws. However, that was not all I got. This is when I realized, oh shoot, I need to go back. Alright, so, whenever you defeat the mechanical bosses, they will drop you one of 3 new souls. Kind of saw these before from the crafting windows, but from defeating the twins, we got the Souls of Sight, which can be used for a couple of things. As we actually see, some things require multiple souls. The other souls I don't got yet, but we can make things like the Rainbow Rod, Fairy Bell, which is a new light, the Medic Harp, which is a new medic weapon, very good against one of the bosses, an Optic Staff, which is a new summoning weapon, and one I highly recommend, as well as a new pickaxe variety, / Jax. But most importantly to me is the True Knight's Edge, an upgrade to the Knight's Edge, and I love the Knight's Edge. However, it requires souls of Might, Fright, and Sight. Same thing for the pickaxe. Now, we also got Hallowed Paws out of this. And Hallowed Paws are used for a couple of things like that pumpkin down below, a light disc, not a big fan of that weapon style. Although that one's not, it's a little bit annoying to get. The Star Cannon, which is an upgrade to that one. Durexol, which is a new summoning whip. Not the biggest fan of whips, but hey, it's there if you want it. I was actually a little bit confused when I first saw it, because I'm like, wait, is this a summoning weapon? No, it's a whip. A lance, a spear, I don't know why they have different ones. Excalibur, a new sword, and actually a pretty good one. Hollow repeater, as well as hollowed armor. Although, if you actually notice, 1, there are 4 helmets, and 2, there are 2 armor sets. There's a reason for that. 1 is made by using the Demon Altar, 1 is used using a Mithril Anvil. So, just keep that in mind, depending on what you're wanting to get. I highly recommend, if you're going for a melee build, to make... You're going to want to make it eventually, no matter what, but I highly recommend making the Excalibur, as well as the Optic Staff. Just a heads up, though, the Optic Staff requires black lenses as well as normal lenses. Both are things that you get from fighting the eyeballs at night, although the black lenses are much more difficult to acquire, much rarer. So one thing to point out is that right now I have 3 daggers. Thankfully I got this from fighting Queen Slime. So I have 3 summons. If I get rid of that and use the Optic Staff, 1, 2, 3, I now have 6 eyeballs. Essentially they are like the twins. You got 1 that is the laser and 1 that is the fire. Although you don't really deal with the fire as much, as the fire one is more of a offensive one, whereas the laser is a range-based one. They're both offense. Just that. The one is more physical and the other one is more range. Now, I just wanted to show off. I plan on fighting and showing 2 fights against all 3 of the mechanical bosses. Just to show, 1, that it's doable with the things I got equipped, and 2, to try to see a little bit more of these bosses and how they all interact. For right now, I'm going to shut up and just let the gameplay go, and I will come back when the boss fight is over with. Also, just a quick heads up, the armor set I got is called Frost Armor. No one has asked, but I thought I just might as well point this out. It is made using the Tier 8 metal, so like titanium or adamantium, combined with Frost Core, which is an item that you get from fighting an ice golem in a snow biome during a blizzard. He is a rare creature that shows up. You have to defeat 3 of them to get the 3 Frost Cores, but that armor set is honestly very freaking good. Like, it might honestly be better. It probably is better than even the hollowed armor set, so highly recommend it. And if you're going for a more magic or summoner-based one, there's a similar type of armor set that can be made from the desert. You have to fight a desert... I want to call it a desert demon, but it's not a desert demon. But just like the ice golem, it spawns in the desert, only doing a severe sandstorm. You have to defeat 3 of them to get all the items, and blah 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 blah. Alright, so this part is being sped up right now, because it's a little bit hard to actually notice, and I'm probably going to fix this when I actually go into editing, but once one of the mechanical bosses are defeated, each day you have a chance of having a solar eclipse happen. When that happens, you're going to get attacked by, let's say, movie monsters, because that's essentially what they are. You're going to get a bunch of enemies that will spawn. It's very similar to, say, a blood moon, except for the fact that this happens in the day rather than the night. Now, if you get this, I highly recommend fending off the enemies if you can. Now, this thing, I believe, goes from as early as 5 in the morning, probably. Maybe even sooner than that one, because it's already 7 in-game now. It starts very early and does not end until... Oh, it'll probably start from 4:30 in the morning till 7:30 at night. So you're going to be at this for a while to decide to fight. But if there are 2 things I highly recommend fighting, it is the vampires, because they can give you what I believe is called the Night Sash, which will give you a bonus to all of your stats at nighttime, which is great if you're going to be fighting bosses. And the other one is the Merman, because he can drop you what is known as a Neptunian Shell. You can combine that Neptunian Shell with a Werewolf Charm if you happen to fight a werewolf, you can get that, Werewolves only spawn during full moons, so just a heads up on that. And you can just combine the items. So, with the Werewolf Charm and the Mermaid one, you get extra buff to your stats at night. I believe it's mostly, the Werewolf is mostly a melee build one. Whereas the Neptunian Shell, when equipped, will allow you to essentially live underwater. You become a fishman, in a sense. Able to survive underwater without having to worry about breathing. Situational, yes. I would say it's mostly just important. It's mostly good if you decide to combine it with everything else that can be combined into. But yeah. Just a heads up though. We cannot fight everything from the solar eclipse right now. Some monsters won't spawn until we are further ahead in the game. So just a heads up, a solar eclipse now may be easier than a solar eclipse later on. Also, if you get any of the banners, should be an obvious thing that should be obvious at this point, but set them up. And with that, I will be back after the solar eclipse ends. Alright, now, here we go. We're gonna be fighting off Skeletron Prime next. Now, since it was technically the first mechanical boss I got showed off, and, well, I didn't do too hot last time. Now, though, was a different armor set, a very good bow, and some heart statue setup. This fight is, in my opinion, not all that difficult, really. Now, how this works is that you can do things a couple of different ways. You could just try and aim directly for the Skeletron Prime's head, because once the head is destroyed, the boss fight is over. Or you can try to take him apart. What I recommend is usually trying to take care of the limbs, because without the chainsaw, the claw, the laser, and the bomb shooter, he has nothing else going for him. And at that point, he's just vulnerable. If you decide not to try and get rid of all of them, I would highly recommend getting rid of the laser at the bare minimum. The laser, to me, is the most annoying, and everything else you can just try to keep your distance. And I don't know, maybe it's because of my layout or whatnot, the bomb cannon arm. How that one works is that the bombs will interact with the platforms that I am using in my little arena here. So, thankfully, I'm never worried about them, say, hitting me, because they each keep crashing against the platforms, making that arm entirely useless against him. Now, I want to say, and I could be mistaken, if you're playing on higher difficulties, Expert and Master Mode, I want to say you have to, well, you don't have to, but you will want to take care of the arms first, because I want to say that the head itself has greater defense when the arms are around. I do not believe that's the case in normal mode, however. But, yeah, for the most part, just keep moving around, keep your distance, keep firing, and yeah, eventually this fight should come to a close, hopefully to your win. I'm not gonna lie, the minions definitely help on this one. Well, I would not say they are absolutely necessary to this victory. Never underestimate summons. Especially if you, considering the fact that you get one for free, and if you can find that little platform station in the dungeon, which at this point I feel like you probably should have, you can get 2 for free to essentially just... It might be like death by a million cuts, but it adds up. Especially when they can take care of things off-screen that you can't see. But yeah, as we can see, he's already 3 arms down, 4 arms down now. Now, Skeletron Prime is nothing more than a head. So, legitimately, this fight is just nothing. He's just gonna kill him shouting at me like this every so often, and after this, he will eventually pull back, and... well, that's all she wrote. Honestly, it's a little bit sad. I still think that the twins are the easier of the 3 bosses, but Skeletron Prime, once you get rid of his arms, is definitely weaker. The big thing about Skeletron Prime is the arms that he has. Because, there we go, he's gone. And from him we get the Souls of Fright. And if we want to talk to the guide, I want to say the Souls of Fright might be, air quote, the most useless of the 3. Yeah, it's used for the Naughty Present. It's used for the Flamethrower if you want that one. It uses gel for ammo. Personally, I never really use it, but hey, it's there if you want it. And this Naughty Present is for something... I don't know if I'll talk about that one. I might not. But yeah, I really got nothing to really say about this fight. Like, once you get it done and down, not all that difficult, and it's not all that rewarding, if you ask me. I don't know, maybe I just really need to give the Flamethrower a shot. Also, you might see I'm having issues because of the hollow changing up biome, so, my treehouse is no longer considered a forest. Yeah, that's the annoyance of when you get in the hard mode. However, I don't think, it happened yet, but when one of the mechanical bosses, I think it's just one, but I believe when one of the mechanical bosses get defeated, a new NPC can show up if you have the room for it, that being the Steampunk. I'm not sure if it's one or I have to beat all 3. I want to say it's just one. so I'm going to discuss this now while I'm fighting Skeletron Prime for the second time around. The Steampunk, if you want to try and cleanse the world, as in remove all of the corruption and the hollow, Steampunker is your best friend. Now, the Steampunk is going to be a little bit expensive, but for 2 platinum coins, which at this point I can get easily, you can buy what is known as the Claymator, I believe it's called. How that works is that you buy the Claymator, you buy gel, which is the ammo for the Claymator, and you can essentially turn the hollow, you can turn huge tracts of land from being corrupted, crimsoned, or hollowed into normal. This will probably require a couple of runs through. If you're going to try and cleanse the entire world, I highly recommend making just a bunch of elevators going down to the world, and you're eventually just going to be just falling down and spraying the world from the left-hand side, spraying it from the right-hand side. Probably have to do that like 2 or 3 times, depending on how fast you fall and how accurate the device is. But eventually in time, you could do it. Now, there's obviously going to be more annoying and more expensive on a larger world than on a smaller one, but that's up to you to decide. It can also be used for turning, turning mud into a blue mushroom biome, which is something I will have to add. We can actually do that, I believe, again, once we defeated one of the 3 mechanical bosses. If we decide to make a mushroom biome, a blue mushroom biome, and have it above ground, we can again have a new NPC show up. And I want to say that's an NPC, if you're going for a ranger build, you desperately want. I don't want to spoil who that is, but we'll talk about them at a later date and time. Now, I'm going to shut up and just let this fight happen, because I don't think there's anything else I need to talk about right now. Alright, here we go. Last but certainly not least, we got the Destroyer. Now for this boss fight, if you're gonna use a bow, I don't recommend the ice bow if you're gonna be using the holy arrows like I am. Simple reason being that the ice bow will turn any arrow you got into one of the ice variations. So I did try it out on normal enemies, and well, yeah, it just wasn't worth it. Maybe for the damage, but the shooting stars are really what makes the holy arrows the holy arrows. And I highly recommend it, as you just may have noticed all the shooting stars falling down. If you're going for a mage build, the harp is actually, from what I can notice, a very good weapon. Now, this may not have to be 100% necessary to tell you, but destroy the freaking drones. Oh my god, are the drones the worst part about this fight? Like, the drones are honestly probably the worst thing about this fight, just because of how many there are and how fast they keep showing up, and they're essentially the equivalent of minions for this guy. So getting rid of them so that they can't kill me with a death by 1,000 cuts is very, very useful. However, once you eventually get this thing down, again, just like the other bosses, it's not all that threatening. Matter of fact, my sword might have actually be a better option right now for fighting this guy than this than this repeater is. Because each segment of the Destroyer is its own body part, so the sword being able to hit multiple body parts at once might actually be more beneficial. Another thing that might be more beneficial is using things such as Jester arrows or Corruption arrows that can actually hit multiple body parts at once. I'm not sure. Considering how this boss works, I feel like if you were really into just, like, giving it a shot, I guess you could try Shuriken? But, I would say good luck on that one, because that would probably be a lot of Shuriken. But yeah, we already got this guy down to halfway. Help, I'm still at full. Not gonna lie, these these heart statues are extremely valuable. Not to mention the health regen and everything else I got going on. Definitely is making these fights much more reasonable than I expected it to. And alright. That fight was not so much difficult as it was just very long. Now, I don't know how the drops work for the Destroyer. But something to very point out was that, having defeated the third mechanical boss, we were informed that there is, I guess, a ruckus happening in the underground jungle. This may be considered a spoiler, but that's where we're going to be going to next. We now have the final soul that I've been looking for, the Souls of Might. So, just like the other ones, let's go back to the house and, well, see what we can make with these Souls of Might. Might, Sight, and Fright. So, the Avenger emblems, that's like the other ones, that light the Mega Shark, an upgrade to the Mini Shark, requiring illegal parts, shark fins, and 20 Souls of Might. If you're going for a gunner, definitely recommend it. Also, the True Knight's Edge. Also, yeah, I only had 19 Souls of Sight, so unfortunately no upgraded sword for me right now. Yeah. Oh well. Now, with the bosses defeated as well, we also have the Hallowed Armor set, if you so wish. Again, I don't think it's worth it. Comparing it to what I had before, like, I think it gives me more defense, but no. Pretty sure the armor I got on right now is better than even the hollow stuff, so yeah, forget the hollow stuff, really. Unless you just really want to go for that, like, one specific whatchamacallit, that one specific get-up. Also, no, I can use the warp, it's just in the right situation. But, well, here we go, round 2 against the Destroyer, and, well, the only thing that's going to be too much new going on, other than the fact that I think our trader has just been slain. So, yeah. We're just going to let this fight go off, and, well, next time, the next full-on episode, we're going to be heading on over to the jungle to see what's going on over there. However, I also plan on doing a smaller mini half episode, which will be the next one to come out, because we have defeated the 3 mechanical bosses. However, there's still one challenge I would like to try. Technically, if you're going for achievements, you'll want to do this one. And, well, even if you're going for the achievements, we don't have to do this one now. But in the first one I'm going to call mini episode, we're going to try taking on all 3 mechanical bosses at the same time. So, while this fight goes on, I am Jarg. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I will do whatever I can to answer them. Hope you have yourself a fantastic day, and, well, have fun in Terraria. See you later.